Aryong is the daughter of the Black Dragon gangster boss in Hong Kong. The members plan to humiliate the boss by harassing his daughter in a gathering. Aryong dances and shows off her elegant sword skills, but one of the members intentionally breaks a glass, leaving bits of sharp glass on the floor. She steps on it, causing her foot to bleed. As the people laugh at her, she shows off her acrobatics, doing somersaults and stabbing the member's hand using her sword and through the table. Because of this, the gathering stops. Unsatisfied, Aryong tracks her father's right-hand man, swiftly slitting his throat in a barber shop and killing him for the humiliation the night before. After his funeral, one of the higher members of the organization swears to have revenge on Aryong. Her father decides to send her to Korea and keep her safe with a friend, another gang boss in Korea. Kichul is a low-rank gangster in Korea. He is entrusted by Big Boss to keep Aryong safe in Korea because he knows a bit of the Chinese language. But the truth is, he barely knows anything. He visits the airport the next day with his underlings to pick Aryong up. He thought that Aryong would be a strong male gangster, but his surprise when he sees that she's a sexy woman. They bring her to his workplace to meet Big Boss, where he tells Aryong to make herself at home and feel free to order Kichul around as she stays in Korea. They then go to Kichul and his underling's house. They still try to show her who's boss, trying to show their strength. Shortly after, a translator comes to their house to try and assist the communication between the guest and the gangsters. They all sit down and talk, but the translator is scared and intimidated by the gangsters. She starts translating Aryong's rather rude sentences to nicer ones to prevent anger from the gangsters. Aryong then asks for a request from the gangsters to find her missing mother. The next morning, Kichul's underlings are bothered by the sudden arrival of a rival gang. They are outnumbered, but Aryong is there and lends them a hand. Kicking a small table to the intruders. They all fall down to the floor and Kichul's underlings start beating them up one by one. In the evening, the group goes out to a diner to have some meal and drinks, as Kichul and one of his underlings get drunk and retreat to the bathroom. The rival gang suddenly shows up, seeking revenge for the warm welcome they had received earlier in the morning. They try to mess with Aryong and also kick away Kichul's underlings. Aryong retaliates, throwing chopsticks straight at the group of men before landing powerful kicks that send them away. It was a one-sided victory. Kichul's underling reports the fight to Kichul, but he is drunk and doesn't believe the story. The defeated rival gang reports back to their leader, making Kichul's group their target. After more investigation, the rival gang decides to invite Kichul and Aryong to their headquarters. Once they arrive at the rivals' headquarters, they are surprised with the sight of Kichul's underlings, already beaten up beforehand. A duel is then initiated between the rival gang's boss and Kichul. Kichul pounces on him, but is met with a punch onto his face. He gets up and tries once more, but is again punched right on his face. He gets up one more time, and this time, Aryong lends him a hand, flicking a peanut onto the boss's eyes. As the boss staggers, Kichul manages to land an uppercut onto the boss's head. The rival gang immediately comes to his aid, surrounding Kichul and landing hits onto his body with bats and punches. Despite Kichul's stand, he is greatly outnumbered. Aryong then steps up, Pushing Kichul aside and fighting the group of men. Though she is surrounded, she manages to land her powerful kicks onto all the opponents. In a matter of seconds, the gang are all crippled on the floor, Aryong the last woman standing. Kichul and his underlings can only stand in awe. The group returns home shortly after. Kichul and Aryong decide to relax together in the garden, having some drinks together. It's obvious that the language barrier between the two is there, but Kichul begins to feel attracted to the woman. Aryong also seems to enjoy his company. The next day, the group has breakfast together. Aryong starts to open up and be kinder towards the gangsters, but the translator keeps translating them to threatening sentences.
对吧？
뭐냐? 지금?
擦掉了。晚安。
Inflicting fear upon Kichul's underlings. Kichul starts feeling suspicious of the translator, feeling that she's translating poorly even though Aryong looks like she's comfortable now around the gangsters. Kichul and his underlings then go to their headquarters and see that the rival gang's boss is there and admits defeat. As he is escorted out, Kichul is promoted from a low-rank gangster all the way up to Big Boss right-hand man.
忘了昨天那一幕가락지 봐라.
너 제대로 전하는 거 맞아?
All due to Aryong's hard work against the rival gang. Elsewhere, one of the higher members of the Black Dragons makes his move, sending professional assassins to take care of Aryong. Aryong's group is having fun together in town, but is interrupted by the arrival of the assassins. They manage to escape and take cover, but Aryong took a shot on her arm. Kichul reports this incident to his big boss. The group returns home and thinks of a plan for their safety. They split into two groups, Kichul together with Aryong and the translator with the underlings.
走过正派你们来的吧？
时间不多了。
别过来！
They move right away, since the assassins seem to already be in their neighborhood. As they separate, the assassins only care about Kichul and Aryong's car, chasing them around the neighborhood. However, they manage to slip away after the assassins ram onto a passing truck. The two of them decide to seek refuge at Kichul's family home. They manage to have a breath of fresh air and rest. Kichul's parents believe that Aryong is Kichul's girlfriend, and her mother tells Kichul to give their family necklace to her.
야, 뭐 하는 거야 지금? 야! 야, 빨리 봐!
As the couple rests safely, the same can't be said to Aryong's father, the boss of the Black Dragons. After a meeting with a higher member regarding the safety of his daughter, a bomb explodes, catching the boss in the blast. After the short getaway, Kichul and Aryong reunite with the underlings and translator. Aryong slips away from them to try and call her father, but the assassins suddenly appear. As sand kicks up between the two sides, Aryong manages to throw her daggers straight to two of the assassins' necks, leaving only the leader left. The two of them show fantastic sword skills.
不過以牙還牙，我有嘅人死傷無數。
skillfully parrying each other's attacks. However, the leader is a bit stronger than Aryong. Despite the fact, Aryong outsmarts her, diving into a big pile of hay. As the leader dives in and tries to stab all over the stack, Aryong stabs her stomach, ending the fight in Aryong's victory. Afterwards, Kichul tells Aryong that her mother has been found, but tells her to prepare herself. Already having a new family and looking happy, she decides to not speak to her, afraid she'll ruin her mother's happiness. Afterwards, Aryong decides to leave Korea and return to Hong Kong. Kichul tries to confess to her just before she leaves, but she ignores him. Aryong arrives at her father's house, seeing that her father has survived the blast but is barely hanging on with terrible burns and wounds all over his body. Shortly after, he passes away after seeing his daughter one last time. The next day, Kichul pays her a visit, giving her his family necklace and also receiving a kiss from Aryong. The next morning, A wedding of a Black Dragon member is scheduled. Aryong infiltrates the wedding alone, disguising as the bride to get close to the new boss of the Black Dragons, her father's killer. As the two of them stand in front of the boss, Aryong pulls out a sword and slashes the boss's front. Chaos occurs at the wedding with reinforcements for Aryong arriving shortly after, including Kichul. She easily takes care of the gangsters, evading all gunshots and swiftly disposing the weaker gangsters.
如果對你唔忠心，
Even when she's outnumbered and in a dark place, she manages to skillfully land her powerful kicks and slashes upon the gangsters. Even the boss right-hand man is no match for her. Evading his gunshot and immediately throwing a knife to his chest. A swift and clean kill. Eventually, she manages to reach the boss once again, still alive but is wounded. Aryong tries to close in with her two swords, but the boss bluffs her. Throwing his sword away and takes out a pistol from his sleeve, landing a shot on Aryong's leg. The woman is on the floor with a gun pointed at her, but Kichul comes to the rescue. He manages to distract the boss, but receives a bullet and falls down the tall building. Aryong uses this opportunity to come close to him and land a stab on him, followed by a knife thrown to his body. The boss falls down the building as well, dying on the streets. Aryong then spots Kichul, alive and kicking as his fall is cushioned by a garbage truck passing by. After the chaos, Aryong is promoted and becomes the boss of the Black Dragons.
너 오지 마! 야! 야, 이 새끼야! 이 목걸이 주려고, 이 새끼야! 얼마나 거기서 있다고!
Kichul then decides to leave her and head to the airport. Aryong's trusted assistant makes sure she doesn't regret this and chases after the Korean. The gang's cars block his cab on the highway, Aryong and Kichul stepping out of their respective vehicles. In the end, surrounded by the Black Dragons and with the help of Aryong's trusted assistant as their translator, Kichul proposes to Aryong with his family necklace and they embrace each other in the sunset. Well, that's how the movie goes. It is so lucky for Kichul to have a gangster boss's daughter by his side, even though he was a low-ranking member. Do you think Kichul is living every man's dream? Let us know what you think in the comments section below.